Okay, welcome everybody to some action from the New Players League. Julia Corbin and Cody Totman. I've just brought up the standing just to start with here. Julia on top, and Cody, you can see a couple of games being played with John Harmon and Tony Jackson. Whoever wins this, with Cody 2 points behind, is going to take the title, and with it they will advance to the finals. Tony Jackson has already locked away the final berth for standard, largely because he beat Nick Peterson head to head, so Nick can't catch Tony there. Cody Totman can seal legacy, a place in the legacy finals, and in terms of modern, Cody and John, you can see that they're both close there, but Cody actually beat John. So if Cody can take modern, he also makes the modern final. So John will be barracking for Julia here. Unfortunately, Julia is not in contention in any of the formats, but she can make it to the overall grand champion. So we're going to jump into it now. So this was game one. Julia at the bottom of the screen, Cody at the top. Both these players were on what I would call green-red variations. There's a couple of the exploring merfolk that both used for card advantage. So in that respect, it's a bit of a mirror match going on here. See, Julia with the merfolk branchwalker exploring finds a glory bringer. Because the gap between the two is 2 points, it means that whoever wins 2 of the 3 formats is going to take the title, because 2 points cannot be a tie. So there's a resilient Kenner, it just pumps a creature when it comes in. The reason it cannot be a tie is because even if the other person loses the 2 formats 2-1 and picks up 2 points, then wins the third, so they go down two games to 1, head-to-head contest would mean that the person that won the 2 is actually the winner. Julia here finds a Captain Lannery Storm. We see that occasionally pop up, but 3 mana for a 2/2 is not fantastic. It gives you a treasure when you attack. I'll just bring it up there now. So when it attacks, whenever you sacrifice a treasure, she gets 1+1 until the end of the turn. But Julia here is building towards that glory bringer. She does have a lightning strike as well. On the other side of the table, a resilient Kenner is coming down here for Cody. Pumps that merfolk branchwalker and it can get in for 5 here. And a pass of the turn. So Julia up to 4 now. One issue I've just realised with these pre-recorded matches is it's not, in a mirror match, it's not very clear whose hand we're looking at on the screen, so apologies for that. But I did actually watch most of these matches and could see. So obviously we're looking at Cody's here, he's got the glory bringer. Julia plays a Rekindling Phoenix. So we're on Cody's turn now. He does have a play here. He can swing the Merfolk Branchwalker, because Rekindling Phoenix can be a chump blocker because it comes back at the end of the turn. But one kind of trick is that you can get the Rekindling Phoenix to commit. We'll see if Julia's going to do it here. Julia's got, we're looking at her hand now, she's got a glory bringer. She is tapped out, so she's thinking about it now. Should I or shouldn't I? Ultimately she says I should. So now what Cody can do is kill the token that comes along with it, and then the Rekindling Phoenix will not come back at the next turn. And you see that is what he does. He will kill that elemental token, so the Rekindling Phoenix is gone permanently. He still has Lightning Strike. So here's Julia now. Doesn't find the 5th land that she needs for the Glorybringer. Merfolk Branchwalker is still going to get in for a decent chunk here. Although she's going to play Jadelight Ranger instead and explores, finds a forest and a shock, puts the shock in the bin. Now can play out the Resilient Kenner, so that's a nice turn for Julia. In response, before the pump, Cody will take down the Merfolk Branchwalker so he avoids 5 damage. And with 5 lands up and a Glorybringer in hand, Julia will pass the turn. Gloria. Sorry. And Cody dumps his own Glorybringer down. We'll see if there's any exertion here. I think he has to, otherwise he's taking 5 on the way back. Removes 1 threat. Gets in for 11 and a pass to the turn. So now Julia can play her own Glorybringer. I think she needs to exert this and take down the Glorybringer on the other side. We'll see if she does that. No exertions. Holds up. There's a Magma Spray as the draw. Glorybringer is the draw there for Cody, so this is going to be a blowout. He's going to be able to play the Glorybringer and exert on the other Glorybringer. And he's got that Magma Spray, so he can actually clear Julia's board here. We'll see if he exerts. No exertion. I'm very surprised by that. He is going to Magma Spray down the Resilient Kenner, so that's going to be exiled. There won't be any eternalizing of that creature. As we untap and see what Julia can find. Overter Scarehulk is going to be huge. That's actually lethal. Can put the 4 counters onto the Glorybringer, and we're going to go to game 2 now. Because on the other side, no cards, and Cody tapped out. And the 8/8 Glorybringer will get in for the damage. And we're going to go to a game 2. So this is game 2 now. Julia at the bottom of the screen is up a game. Again, we see there's an explored Glorybringer. I'm sure that's going to go to hand. The explore trigger puts lands into your hand, or it puts, if it reveals non-land, you get a counter, and then you can choose to either put that in the grave or put it on top of your library. So I'm sure the Glorybringer stays on top. So the Branchwalker is going to get in for 3 here. It's a handy turn 2 play. And he plays out a Death Gorge Scavenger in response to the Magma Spray. Unfortunately, the Magma Spray for Cody, the Magma Spray exiles the creature, so Death Gorge can't get the pump. Merfolk needs a pump here. It doesn't get it. It gets a struggle to survive. Actually, it is going to... Why has it got a count? Yeah, I was going to say, the counter would seem to appear before the plus did. So he's a 3/2 in response. Because Death Gorge can actually go to a 4/3, but they can trade if Julia is interested in that. You can see she's got struggle to survive, which does damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. So a handy card to have. Here's an Abrade just to remove the blocker. And Death Gorge Scavenger can get in for 4 here. 2 struggle to survive. So here it is. The second part is not very good. I skipped past there. It's shuffle graveyard back into library. Julia down to 17 and untap. We look at Cody's hand. It's very awkward. He needs that second red. He can't play Chandra or Glorybringer here. Julia's going to fire off that struggle to survive and get rid of this Deathgorge Scavenger. So Cody here, he's looking for a red from this Merfolk Branchwalker. See what it explores. It finds an Earthshaker Kenra. He did this post-combat, so even though the Kenra's got haste, it can't get in this turn. And you can see the trigger goes on, 3-2, past the turn. So what can Julia find here? You can see she's got a Veterus Gearhulk and a struggle. She's got 2 options here. She can hold up Struggle to Survive and play the Branchwalker, or she can play out the Gearhulk. She's going to go with the first option. So finds the Earthshaker Kenra. Is she interested in keeping this? No. Earthshaker Kenra not so good in this match when you're against big creatures on the other side. So can Cody here find his second red source? No, he can't. It's an Aethersphere Harvester. Excuse me. So he can actually fire up the Harvester in defense, but he can't attack this turn because he doesn't. It has Summoning Sickness. And we will pass the turn. So the Harvester will be a 3-5. What's the play going to be here from Julia? She could possibly swing with the Branchwalker to offer a trade, which Cody wouldn't take. Okay, in response, she's going to shoot down the Branchwalker. That was at the end of Cody's turn, sorry. A nice play from Julia there. Cody at 22. Branchwalker's just going to get in. I'm a bit surprised there that would suggest she's putting all the counters on the Gearhulk here. We have seen green-red. It doesn't really have anything that can deal with an enormous Gearhulk. Yeah, so Gearhulk post-combat would suggest it's probably getting all the counters. And as we see, Chandra and Glorybringer, neither of which can deal with an 8-8 Gearhulk. Bit of hesitancy here. The other option is she could put the counters on the Branchwalker to put it out of range of, which is what she does. Yeah, it makes it 6-5, so it's out of range of the Glorybringer. I would have done that before combat, but you can see it's hopeless now for Cody. Can't find that second red source, so he's going to be taking on 11 damage. It's a 2-turn clock. I don't see how he gets out of this one. And he doesn't. So he concedes, and Julia takes the game 2 games to 0. So this is the live ladder after that match. She now goes 6 points clear of Cody at the top, meaning Cody has to win the last 2 formats if he's to become the champion. So Julia needs to win either Modern or Legacy. We can see here Julia on what will be Bant Spirits, and Cody is on Burn. This one, I'm not sure. I have played a bit of Bant Spirits. Pre-sideboard, Julia would be looking for Steel of the Godhead to equip to either a Spell Queller or a Geist of St. Traft for the lifelink. But I think this matchup heavily favours the Burn player, Cody. Cody needing to win Modern to keep his finals hopes alive. Of course, this is the first season that we've opened up finals to the new players league. So, because there's 6 players, we gave them 1 spot for each format and 1 spot for the Grand Champion. So you have to actually win a division to make it into the finals. Of course, in our so-called Hall of Fame on our website, you will still get a division champion award. So Julia there, not mucking around. She's just going to path that Swift Spear immediately and untap. You can see she's probably building towards a turn 3 Geist here. Does she want to hold up path? No, she doesn't. She wants to get out the Selfless Spirit. Generally in this matchup, cards like Selfless Spirit act more as a chump blocker, because you have more creatures than the burn deck, so you can just keep trading until you get on top. But this is an awkward position here because Swift Spear can get in and trade. Potentially doesn't trade if he's got a Lightning Bolt or a 1 mana burn spell, and Julia respects that. We can see here he doesn't. So he's got choice out of suspending Rift Bolt or playing Grim Lavamancer. He decides to go with the Lavamancer and will pass the turn. So 2 creatures on the board. Lavamancer is, well, Julia can't find that the third land. Lavamancer is exile 2 cards from your graveyard, pay 1 red and tap it, and it does 2 damage to creature or player. So you can see Cody's 1 short at the moment. So the question here for Julia, does she attack and start a race, or does she hold it back as a blocker? I would have been inclined to attack there because Grim Lavamancer is certainly not getting in, and Swift Spear will get prowess, so you can't block it anyway. And especially when she's holding up Path to Exile, I think an attack there was the best line, as this is going to be ugly with Searing Blaze. Because the land into the battlefield, Searing Blaze gets landfall, so it's going to do 3 damage to creature, 3 damage to player. She's going to path here. Where's the path going? Did it go at her own creature to get the 3rd land? We'll see. Yeah, she did. Nice play from Julia. Path her own creature. She still takes 3 from the Searing Blaze because it's a 2-part card. And so there's 3 damage coming across now. So she'll drop to 12. Suspends a Rift Bolt, so effectively at 9. A second Drogskull Captain. I think you get out the Geist of St. Traft here, so that next turn you can then drop the Drogskull Captain. You'll be getting in for 7 to start this race. Yep, down comes Geist, so it's going to stop Grim Lavamancer from attacking, but the Lavamancer is still going to do 2 damage. So there's a fair bit of damage coming across here from the burn player on this turn. Rift Bolt off suspend. We'll put Julia down to 9 and get a prowess trigger. We'll see if Cody wants to unload any more of his hand to up the prowess count here. In comes Swift Spear. This will put him to 7. Actually, he's got a Boros Charm, so this is actually lethal. He can Boros Charm here down to 5. Make Swift Spear 3 and then finish the final 2 points of Grim Lavamancer. So yeah, this is lethal here, and he's seen the line as well. So Cody Totman's going to take game 1 of Modern. And the last 2 points of damage from the Lavamancer. So we're going to go now to game 2. Mausoleum Wanderer is going to be a handy turn 1 play here because it can sack it and counter. Cody's deck tends to play on curve, so it's going to create an awkward situation. Down comes Swift Spear, so he'll just take one, and it doesn't mind that on turn 1. He can probably play out a Rattle Chains here and pass the turn. And then Julia can play a Rattle Chains and pass the turn. She's in a pretty good position here because she can hold up Spell Queller and Drog Skull Captain to flash in on turn 3. She's going to play it main phase so the Wanderer gets the pump and pushes 2 points. Cody drops to 17 and a pass of the turn. We can see Cody's got a number of options here. He could have played a land, played an Eidolon, but he's played out his 1 mana spell first, so he can dump these, probably Lightning Bolt. Yeah, Lightning Bolt is going where it's going to pump the 2 prowess Swift Spears. Mausoleum Wanderer will counter that Lightning Bolt. But still going to be 4 damage coming across. We'll drop Julia down to 15. Julia doesn't need to do anything here. Can just swing with this Rattle Chains. Spell Queller can counter anything that comes down this turn. Although she won't be able to get one of the Swift Spears because they'll still get the prowess trigger from the countered spell. He plays his land tap there. Not really a viable block here. You could flash in the Drog Skull Captain, but it's only a 2/2 and any spell would pump those Swift Spears to kill it. And you can see the Eidolon comes down. This will probably be enough to get the Spell Queller. It is. Cody's tapped out now, so Julia's going to be able to protect the Spell Queller by flashing in Drog Skull Captain or Rattle Chains now, depending on what gets cast. You can see a Searing Blaze. Boros Charm can't go at creatures, but Searing Blaze certainly can. But whatever he plays next, there's the Drug Skull Captain. Other creatures get +1 and have hexproof. So Julia's got this situation pretty well covered. We've got a race on now, which I think Cody is going to lose. We'll see if he goes for the Searing Blaze. He does have a Lightning Helix as well, so but he doesn't have 2 white, so he can't play Boros Charm and Lightning Helix here. So which option? He can safely take down the Queller by going Helix and Searing Blaze, and that would play around any protection that Julia might have. He's attacking for... where's the Helix going to go? Is it going at the Queller or at the face? It's going at the face. So this is going to drop Julia to 6. But I think 2, 4, 6. Yeah, actually, Cody's just dead on the crackback, so Julia's got this match. There's Searing Blaze there. I don't remember if that Sacred Foundry came in this turn. I think it did, so he's got landfall. Actually, this is going to put him up to 9. So if Julia flashes in a Rattle Chain, she still has this match. And here's a Searing Blaze. He's going for it to get the prowess trigger, but this is going to get a response. Searing Blaze on the Spell Queller can flash in the Rattle Chains here to give the Spell Queller hexproof. So now you can see Julia's got 6 power on the board, but the Drug Skull Captain's going to pump all those +1/+1. So there's actually 9 power once the Captain comes down next turn, and lethal. And she just got there. This is going to drop her to a point, but Julia's going to force a game 3 here with the Drug Skull Captain, and this will set up a game 3 where she can take the title. 9 damage comes across. Cody needs to win game 3 to stay alive. If Julia takes this game, then There's a Searing Blood is coming now. 2 damage to target creature. If the creature dies, it also does 3 damage to the controller. And there's a Steel of the Godhead that I mentioned earlier. Blue creature's unblockable, white creature's lifelink. So something like a Geist or a Spellqueller is a perfect target. I mean, even the Drug Skull Captain, it becomes a 4/4 unblockable lifelink. Burn to the face immediately. Julia with the turn 1 Mausoleum Wanderer again. Cody for a few options here. He can. Did he do it for you? Alexa, turn off living room.
Okay.
So the Wanderer is going to counter the Searing Blows. Searing Blood, sorry. Julia just looks like she needs one more card here. A 2-drop would have been nice. So she passes the turn. Down comes Grim Lavamancer, the all-star from game 1. And Cody here with the 2 cards in the grave to actually take advantage of it. But a pass of the turn. And at this stage, Geist of St. Traft coming down here, and it's looking pretty good for Julia. Geist is going to swing for 6 power. Drog Skull is going to make it a 4/4, a 3/3 next turn. So Bolt to the face here puts Julia to 14 and just passes the turn. Noble Hierarch is going to pump this Geist even further. Hey, shush. Noble Hierarch down, so he's going to Julia's going to play out the Drog Skull Captain as well, so 7 damage is coming across. But if Julia's going to Pyroclasm, if Cody's going to Pyroclasm, he's going to block that Geist. So this is going to be a crushing blow for Julia here. You see 8 damage coming across. Lavamancer surely blocks here, and then it's an utter blowout next turn. The other option wasn't to, yeah, he's going to block and activate to put 2 damage, put Julia to 11. There's the Lavamancer. Julia goes to 11, and this Pyroclasm is going to be nasty. We'll leave Julia with only a Mausoleum Wanderer in her hand. There's Pyroclasm, and a pass of the turn. So Julia out of gas now, draws a land, desperately needs to find a collected company. Interestingly, in the 3 games, she has not seen a single collected company. I assume she's playing the full 4. Here's Goblin Guide, so the pressure's on now. I think in these situations, Julia's drawing to a collected company or bust, because Cody's top decks, when you've got your opponent at 9 with burn, is far superior. Virtually every burn spell will do 3 damage at least. But Cody, you can see it, awkward position is Searing Blaze, so to land into the battlefield, he can Searing Blaze this turn if he wants. It'll be worth 3. Does he do it? No, he doesn't. Or the Wooded Foothills can still be cracked, so he can do it on instep here. But Julia down to 7, this is looking really bad. She's got 4 cards in hand, but a chronic land flood. A path to exile and 3 lands. Not what she wants to see. She just needs to find, again, a collected company. But it's really surprising that in 3 games we haven't seen a single one. In turn, he's going to fire off the Searing Blaze to put Julia to 4. Goblin Guide will swing her to 2, so it's going to force the path to exile out of Julia. She's going to counter, but I believe the 3 still comes across. He pays the 1 anyway. Skullcrack will put a 3 damage, so this has to be pathed here. Can't go into lightning bolt range. So she's gonna draw a goblin, Geist of St. Traft, but ironically that's going to be her downfall, I believe. The Searing Bloods can't target the. There's a Skullcrack, put it a 1. So any burn spell off the top, pretty much. Searing Blood can't actually target the Geist of St. Traft, but it can target the Angel. So you can play 2 of them, and when the Angel dies, it also does 3 damage to the other side. You can see Julia just with lands in hand. Lightning Bolt off the top would do it. No Lightning Bolt, it's only land. So Cody can actually get her next turn. There's a Searing Blood. It's 3 damage to player if the creature dies. So this win is going to force a game Legacy takes all match. Rattle Chains will not save her here because the token is a angel and not a spirit. He has to crack the Bloodstained Mire for this to come off. I think Julia, just to pause here, she's thinking, because she's already seen Searing Blazes and so on. But when you're down to 1 and things like Lightning Bolts, Rift Bolts, Lava Spikes will kill you, I think you can't really hold back. You can see Cody's at 10, so it's a 2-turn clock with the Geist. A 6-point hit here would mean that even a creature on the ground next turn would not save Cody. So I think the correct play here, regardless, is to swing in. We know that there's 2 Searing Bloods in hand, so that's unfortunate. But we've seen Searing Blaze already, and so you could reasonably expect that she might not have one. The only issue here is that Cody has 2 cards in hand that Julia doesn't know about. He's got 4 mana open, so a burn spell with 2 cards, you're thinking either he's land flooded or something is up. So this is quite a tough decision for Julia. She decides she's going to attack, and unfortunately that's going to be the match. Cody can't fire off those Searing Bloods quick enough. Goes for the second, but he's going to have to crack that Bloodstained Mire first. And that's going to push through the final 3 points of damage. So Cody takes down Modern 2-1. So looking at the ladder now, heading into the final, the Legacy. Cody and Julia return to the top of the table. There's 3 points separating them. So even if Julia picks up the point here in Legacy and goes to 48, if Cody's to win Legacy, then they'll be tied for 48, but Cody would go through because he's won this 2-1. So this is very much a winner takes all. You can also see the Legacy score there. Cody 20, Julia 16. If Julia can take Legacy 2-0, she will win the Legacy title. So there's a lot to play for in this final match. You can see Cody's hand there on Sneak and Show. He decides to mulligan that. That's Julia's hand. She's on Death and Taxes. The big card she will be looking for in this matchup is Containment Priest. That's the key card here, Sneak Attack. And he's got a Flusterstorm in hand as well. Containment Priest is the all-star. It just shuts down this deck. It's an instant concede from the show and tell player. Straight away, Cody, I think when you see Plains into Aether Vial, you know it's Death and Taxes, so he's going to counter that immediately. You see, Julia with the Swords to Plowshares can answer a Grizzlebrand, but can't answer a Emrakul. Cody now with the Force of Will back up. So he's a turn away from the sneak attack. He doesn't have anything to play with it though, so Julia's going to wasteland him off red, and just to slow him down a turn as well. The other problem for Julia here is one of the key plays for Death and Taxes is Ether Vial into Flicker Wisp, but she can't do that because the Flicker Wisp can actually stop the Emrakul. When you have to hard cast it doesn't have flash, so it's not going to work. You can see a Phyrexian Revoker in the main deck. She can play that and name Sneak Attack if she knows she's against Sneak Attack. Sorry, there's an annoying box over a Swords to Plowshares and a Flicker Wisp and a Rishadan Port. So upkeep, she's going to tap down land just to slow him down again. Draws a second Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares is generally a good card, but it's a very bad card when you're facing Emrakul. I think she's got to be thinking about that Phyrexian Revoker pretty quickly, because if she knows he's on Sneak Attack, it can name Sneak Attack and shut that down. Then Show and Tell is his only out. But you can see he's got counter spells to protect that as well. Upkeep will tap down, so if he can find there's a Rishadan Port, 1 plus that to tap it down. Cody here needs to find one more land to get around this Rishadan Port lock. Julia needs to find another land to keep it going. Well, Thalia will work, or no, actually Thalia won't work because okay, here's the Phyrexian Revoker. Does this draw a counter spell? He cracks. He can actually Flusterstorm here because Julia's only got one land open. Instead he's going to go for Force of Will. So the opportunity is open here. He can resolve his Sneak Attack. He still needs... Julia will still have a turn to find something, because he needs a land to activate it, and he also needs to find the target, which he just did. The Emrakul, look at how fast he played that Sneak Attack. It couldn't wait. Passes the turn. Julia could feasibly go on here because she's at 20, so Emrakul's going to knock her down to 15 but wipe her board. You see nothing in that hand looks very appealing at this stage. Flicker Wisp, if it was played through the Ether Vial, would be very good, but unfortunately it's not. So I think Julia is just dead. Anything she plays out here is just going to die to Emrakul if he has the Emrakul. So when Cody's got 2 cards in hand at this stage, I guess you just have to play as if he doesn't have the Emrakul. Plays out a Flicker Wisp, targeting a Plains so that Swords to Plowshares can be online, and a pass of the turn. Of course, Emrakul's got protection from all colours, so Swords to Plowshares is not going to do the job. Untaps. Quickly activates Sneak Attacks. Oh, you can see he's drawn the second Emrakul, so this one's 100% over now. This is going to completely wipe Julia's board. Rishadan Port cannot tap down creatures, it can only tap down lands. Taps down the second red. So wipes her board. passed of the turn, but we can see the same play again next turn. So there's no out here for Julia. Passes a turn back. I don't know why he bothers to brainstorm. He can just quickly activate that sneak attack and we can go to game 2. Here comes Emrakul, or anything in his deck can do 5 points of damage and it's over. Yeah, Emrakul's going to finish the job, so we're going to go to game 2 of Legacy. Cody now 1 win away from taking the title and going to the finals. You can see Julia there drew a Caracas, so that's going to be huge in this matchup. Has the Phyrexian Revoker, 2 Council's Judgments. Caracas will tap a legendary creature. So Caracas tapping down a legendary creature will... he just accidentally reveals his sneak attack there. Will keep something like an Emrakul in check because Emrakul's got protection from spells. Although, actually, no, because I believe Caracas... No, Caracas returns legendary creature to its owner's hand. So you can see here again, he counters the Ether Vial, so Ether Vial can't be played. But he had to use his... okay, here's Show and Tell. So this isn't going to work, because Grizzlebrand is going to come down. One option here, Julia has a Phyrexian Revoker in hand. She could actually name name Grizzlebrand, because the only 2 targets to name in this deck, so there's Phyrexian Revoker naming Grizzlebrand. Nice play from Julia. She can then use Caracas to bounce the Grizzlebrand back to hand. Or she can Swords to Plowshares it. So she's got a number of options here. She is also 1 white source away from a Council's Judgment that would also kill the Grizzlebrand. Well, actually, no, sorry, Phyrexian Revoker named Sneak Attack, so Grizzlebrand can still draw cards. Cody goes up to 16 cards, so he's going to have to discard here. End of turn, Caracas will bounce that Grizzlebrand. So Julia here looks like she's going to send this to a game 3 early because she's got a lock on this one. Or Blood Moon might have something to say about that actually. He can actually Blood Moon next turn and shut off Caracas. And in the following turn he can Show and Tell Emrakul. So Containment Priest is what Julia is looking for here now. That's the all-star in this matchup. Blood Moon's going to do big work here. We can see Cody's just trying to decide what cards he wants to discard. So he discards and passes the turn to Julia, who finds a Wasteland. So Wasteland is a very good draw there because it's... You can see that Cody's down to 2, he's down to 1. I think he's just dead because Wasteland away the Ancient Tomb. What's the play? He needs to find... Rishadan Port in the upkeep is going to tap down his Ancient Tomb. Yeah, and so Cody concedes. So we go to a game 3 of Legacy that the entire season has come down to the last game of the last format for these two. Pithy Needle will be a handy one there, but Julia needs to hit some lands. The whole season comes down to this one game, with Cody on the play. Winner takes all and will go to the finals. And they'll also go to the Legacy finals. You can see a number of options in hand for Cody. Show and tell on turn 2 with the Ancient Tomb. He's not going to crack the Polluted Delta. He's playing around. There's a Containment Priest in hand. That's the All-Star. The creature doesn't enter the battlefield if it wasn't cast. It gets exiled. But we can see here that Julia doesn't have... Now, does he let this resolve? He has to crack now, because Julia could name Polluted Delta here. Does it resolve? No, she could name Polluted Delta, but she doesn't. She names Grizzlebrand this time. That would have been a massive blowout for Cody. He's going to be able to Ancient Tomb into Show and Tell here. He's not going to be able to draw the cards from Grizzlebrand. So Julia, you can see Sanctum Prelate in hand. What's she gonna? She's gonna play out the Containment Priest. Grizzlebrand still resolved. So the situation right now is that Cody cannot play any more creatures for the rest of the match because of the Containment Priest. He has to find removal. It's a race because Julia now has to quickly find removal for Grizzlebrand because it's a 3-turn clock. I would have probably played Mother of Ruins there to protect my Containment Priest. So here's Cody now. He can't do anything. He can Force of Will actually any play. So Julia's probably locked out of this match now. She needs to find, because the first Swords to Plowshares is going to get Force of Willed. She needs to find 2. So and with a 2-turn clock, it means that she needs to top deck 2 in a row, which is a huge ask. Actually, one option she has here is if she can hit another land, she can Flicker Wisp the Grizzlebrand. Then when it comes to enter the battlefield, it wasn't cast, it would be exiled. So she's drawing into a land only because Cody has the Swords to Plowshares covered with Force of Will. He's going to chip her down to 6 here, so it's all, the whole season has come down to the next play. Any land will win this match and win the league for Julia. A Caracas will bounce at Grizzlebrand and also win the match. Any land will mean that she can Flicker Wisp. Oh, Flicker Wisp will be covered by Force of Will. So, yeah, actually, it's kind of Caracas or bust for her. As Cody gets in again and puts Julia down to 6. So here it comes. Caracas or bust. What is it? It's a concession, it's a bust, and that means that Cody takes the title. As we look at the final standings, Julia and Cody finish even on 48, but because Cody won the head-to-head 2-1, he will be the champion and advance. It also means he's playing in the Legacy finals. And with regards to Modern, he finishes even with Cody on 18 points. But because... Cody and John finished even with 18 points, but Cody won the head-to-head in Modern, so he also advances. So a very good season there from Cody Totman. He will play finals as in the Grand Champions finals, also the Legacy and the Modern finals, where Tony Jackson will play finals for Standard. So thanks very much for watching.